Hi everyone, this is Nathan Bridge. I'm running for school board in May of 2021. And this is, I think, I should check this before I start the video, maybe the sixth video in the series that I'm calling Ask Nate Anything, in which I sort of introduce myself to the community and talk a little bit more about why I'm running for the board. I want to start off today by thanking the folks who came out to the Meet the Candidates event last Sunday evening. It was great seeing everyone there. Talked a lot to members of the community and to my fellow board candidates, all of whom are really wonderful people. But I wanted to highlight for this video one question that came up at that Meet the Candidates event. It's one that I've actually heard, a few times now in conversations with folks. And that is how I envision the role of a school board director vis-a-vis the school. How do I understand that role? What do I see that role to be? And I think it's an excellent question. It's one that I have to understand really well before kind of embarking on this journey to be a school board member. I've been reading through the policies page on our board docs page ever since moving to Jenkintown, really, as I follow along with school board meetings. And it's a pretty big list here. 9 different subheadings with multiple subheadings under those, and a lot of legal writing here. And so, in thinking through that question and reading through these documents over the past year and a half, 2 years, I can really distill the question down into something you'll find if you go to that policies page. Under each of these headings, under each of these various bullet points, you're going to read a section that says authority, and then you're going to read a section that says delegation of responsibility. And that really breaks down for me how this constitution, how this job requirement, how this job description of the school board sort of breaks down into the roles of the school board versus everyone else who works at the school. The authority is, if you read the paragraph underneath authority, that is the role of the school board. That is the job of the school board for each of these different domains. Under the delegation of responsibility, that largely falls to the superintendent and the other staff at the school. And in looking broadly across all these domains, one thing that stands out to me, and if I can put this very simply, the role of the school board is to design and establish the structure for the school. That includes designing the rules, the guidelines, the regulations. It's really about establishing that structure for how the school kind of is to function as an entire entity. That is the job of the school board. Underneath the delegation of responsibility, the common theme that you'll find, the words that you'll find if you read the delegation of responsibility that largely falls to the superintendent, is it's all about implementation. It's all about determining how the rules, the guidelines, the regulations, those that were the structure of the school, that were under the purview of the school board, how those are implemented, how they live in the interactions of the students, the teachers, and the staff on a day-to-day basis. So it seems to me that on the day-to-day basis, that is where the role of the school board director stops, and the job of the superintendent and the administration and the teachers takes over in terms of how the school is to run. And the school board needs to be absolutely cognizant of that. As a teacher myself, I've worked with a number of school boards where that line is blurred. Sometimes it's not as clearly defined as I would like it to be. And I really believe as a teacher and then as someone running for the school board that line needs to be one that's very, very clearly defined. Now in some places it's a little bit tricky, and the one area that I draw my attention to is under the first subheading, that of programs. Under programs, it's talking a lot about the philosophy of education at the school, the academic standards, the curriculum, the adoption of textbooks, planned instruction, lesson plans. That's a really interesting area to read because I think it's kind of emblematic for a lot of what the parents and the community members are thinking about when they think about how the school works and what their kids are learning in school. One thing I think that you'll find if you go through those headings there, starting at the top with the philosophy of education, underneath the philosophy of education subheading, you'll notice that is all authority. There's no delegation of responsibility there. That establishing the philosophy of education of Jenkintown schools is the complete entire authority of the Jenkintown School Board. There's no delegation of responsibility beneath that subheading. And what that tells me is that the school board, as elected officials of the community, are the people who are bringing the vision of the community. The community cares about the school so much. It's really, as I've learned here campaigning, it's the heartbeat of the community in many respects. The school board are the elected members of the community who bring that philosophy of education, that vision, to bear on the way the school is run, or the philosophy of how that school is run. It's all authority. That's the job of the school board. But as you start going down incrementally, going down to curriculum, then planned instruction, and then lesson plan, you see that the authority of the school board gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So by the time you get down to the lesson plan, that's the day-to-day teaching. That's what the teachers are teaching the students in the classroom. The authority of the school board, it's a very, very, very brief sentence, and it's pretty much just nominal. It's not really saying that it has much authority in that domain at all. But the delegation of responsibility there is quite large. There, the delegation of responsibility gets turned over to our excellent administrators, to our teachers and our faculty and our staff, who are the ones who are the educational professionals in the building who are actually working with the students. So when I think about the job of the school board, I think of myself as an elected official, because that's literally how I come to obtain the job, as an elected official who's representing the community in terms of executing and implementing their vision for how they want this cultural element of our community, the school, to the vision, the philosophy of the school, how it is to run. But when it comes down to actually running it, implementing those rules, structures, and guidelines, that's the role of the superintendent and the excellent professionals in the building, not that of the school board. So I hope that sort of clarifies my understanding about the role of the school board. It's a really great question, and it's one that really has got me going back and looking through these policy page and reading those with a very, very fine eye, and I really appreciate the opportunity to do so. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Have yourselves a great day.